in bed, on bed, by the bed, to bed, in the night, at night, on the night, by night. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome, and if you're watching me for the first time, my name is Bridget. On this channel, I teach sounds, grammar, compositions, and other problematic topics in English. So if you like my channel, remember to subscribe, like, share, and leave your comment in the comment section below. So today, I will teach you most of these prepositions that we often mix up as second language users of English. Most of the errors that we make affect our communication in formal settings or in official settings or in our English examinations. So stay tuned to the end of this video to know more about our use of prepositions. Now let's take a look at the first one. I was in bed when you called last night. Mr. and Mrs. James were in bed last night. Radiance was on the bed reading. I think I'm tired. I need to go to bed. Please check those shoes by the bed. Let's look at the meanings of these examples given. In bed means when you are asleep or when you are on the bed, asleep, snoring, or in your dream world. And it can also mean figuratively that a man and a woman are actually, you know what I mean? So that is when we use in bed. And when we use on bed, it means you're actually doing something on the bed. For instance, you may be jumping on the bed, you may be sitting on the bed, and you may be reading on the bed. It shows that at that particular moment, you are not asleep. You're not deep asleep. Okay? When we say to bed actually means when you mean to say that you want to go to bed to sleep. You want to go to bed to sleep. That is what it means. And when you say by the bed, it means when something is placed by the bed or when you are standing by the bed. That is what it means. All of these are correct. The use of preposition that you use determines the meaning that it conveys. 2. At night, in the night, by night, and on the night. Now let's look at these following examples. Armed robbers walk at night. Armed robbers walk at night. That means when you say that armed robbers work at night, the word at night implies that at that particular moment, it is a habitual thing. That is, that action is habitual. It is done continuously. And so you use at with it. And that is why we say armed robbers work at night. The next example is, when did you arrive? I arrived in the night. In the night in this context refers to the night before or to come. So you are actually referring to a night that actually is just concluded. That is, you're just waking up from the night and you're in the morning or in the afternoon and someone asks you a question, you simply say in the night. And when you want to tell someone you're traveling and someone says, when are you traveling today? And you say in the night. In the night. That shows that you are traveling in the night at a particular time. Now let's look at by night. When do you say by night? When we use at night, I said it's habitual. It is habitual. But when we say by night, it shows that it is not habitual. It is not something that you cultivate the habit of doing. And so, the way you use by night connotes another meaning. By night is associated with traveling. For instance, I hate traveling by night. Now, when you say I hate traveling by night, it shows that it is one of these travelings or one of these nights that you don't like, or one of the habits that you don't like. Now, let's move on to on the night. On the night has to do with a specific event. A specific event that you may probably refer to, or you may probably be referring to. When they arrived on that particular night, we had traveled. So now observe the use of prepositions and their meanings. Now let's look at another one. At the end and in the end. When do we use at the end and when do we use in the end? At the end is used in relations to locations, places, things, occasions, and stories. For example, he is standing at the other end, or at the end of the party, we all left. In the end is used in relations to time and events. It also means finally, eventually, in the long run, or after some efforts. For example, the old man died in the end. In the end, they all agreed to pay the amount. Now let's look at another use of prepositions. When we say in time or on time, both are correct. The context or the prepositions that we use determines the meaning that we are trying to convey. For example, in time means when you get to an occasion, when you get to a place before the specific time. For instance, I was at the meeting in time. It shows that you got there before particular time for that meeting to commence, or particular time for that meeting to commence. And when you get there on time means at that particular time you got to the party or you got to the meeting. For instance, I got to the meeting on time. That means you got there at the exact time the meeting was supposed to commence. For instance, if the meeting is supposed to commence at 4 p.m. and you got there exactly 4 p.m., that means you're right on time. But when you get there before the time, it means you are there in time. Finally, let's look at on cue and in queue. We stay in queue and not on queue. Or many refugees stayed in queue waiting for bread. Do you understand what I've said so far? If you have any suggestion or if you want me to teach a topic, please leave that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video.